Welcome in, everybody, to Fantasy Pros. This is the Fantasy Football Podcast. It is me, Joey P, Joe Pizzapia, and today it's about the perfect draft. That's right. Everyone's favorite game is back again, where we try to look back at last season and wonder what the perfect draft might have looked like. And the boys are going to give their best crack at it today. And of course, you can run your own perfect draft simulation over fantasypros.com/perfect draft. Go check it out. And what happens is you go through basically and you draft based on what you know now, because isn't that the way it is? If I only knew what I know now, I would have gone back and done X, Y, and Z. Well, this is your chance to do the entire alphabet. fantasypros.com/perfect draft. That's the way to do it. So Derek Brown, Andrew Erickson going to give their shot today at it. But if you go to fantasypros.com/perfect draft and try your hand on it, and you get a score over 2,500 points, you share it on Twitter or Instagram, and one lucky winner is going to get a 5-year premium subscription, Hall of Fame style, to Fantasy Pros, and 9 other people a 1-year Hall of Fame subscription. So just for going having some fun, you could win some big time upgrades here at Fantasy Pros. So go do that. You're sitting around, you're sad because the Super Bowl is over, you got nothing left to do with your life until we get to more draft prep times. Well, here's something to do today. fantasypros.com/perfect draft. So give it a shot, and don't forget to post your score on Twitter or Instagram. You can tag us in there too if you really want to, and brag about how well you did. Brag to your friends, send it to them too. Have some fun. And gentlemen, today we're ready to have some fun as well. This is how it's going to work. Derek Brown is going to give a shot at grinding the perfect draft, and then Andrew Erickson is going to troll him as he makes all of his picks. Then we're going to flip things around here, and Derek Brown is going to tell Andrew why he's wrong as he's making his picks. I've got, of course, the stats from 2022, so I know exactly who the right guys are and who the wrong guys might be, because that's the position I get to take. So Derek Brown, I did a couple of these. I got 3 of them this morning. They were all over 2,500. No pressure. I hope you can match my score at the very least. But D-Bro, as we're approaching this, again, this is a fun episode. We're having a good time. I know you've run about half a dozen of these things. Have you hit the 25 threshold yet?
I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm trying. But no, honestly, I've been right on the cusp, Joe. And we did not compare scores here. So I think your 2,500s are a little bit fictitious. Just going to throw that out there. But I haven't seen them. So you're going to have to send those receipts to prove it. Well,
I'll do another one after the show, and I'll post it and tag you on Twitter. Maybe I'll win the Hall of Fame subscription. Maybe that'll be me. Actually, I don't think I'm eligible for that. Andrew Erickson, what slot are you drafting from today? Just so we get everybody straight here.
The 11 spot.
The 11. Now, you chose that, or it was chosen for you?
I chose it.
You chose it. Why?
I don't know. I just figured I would pick a number.
Stuff.
I like AJ. It's AJ Brown's number. AJ Brown hit all the overs in the Super Bowl, so that's why I picked 11.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good too. I made some money on Isaiah Pacheco last night. By the way, great stuff going on at Betting Pros too. Don't forget that too. Check that out. We're doing some fantastic shows there. We just did an XFL show too, if you could believe it, with Kevin Coleman. It was awesome. There's some great odds on some of these things, and he gave some great information. Go win some money. D-Bro, what spot will you be drafting from today?
I will be drafting from the 105, and you know what? Excellent. I chose greatness, so I chose this spot as well.
All right, well, we'll see how great you are. So let's bring up this draft and let's get the party started. Again, if you want to go ahead and get your draft on, fantasypros.com/perfect draft. We're giving away free stuff. As D-Bro is loading up his draft screen, we are going to go kick things off here. And this is fun because, again, we're looking back and we're seeing, if you could have done everything right and had the perfect team, obviously, fantasy would have been a lot easier this year. But it's fun before we start looking ahead to finally do one more and just take a little quick review. And here we are. D-Bro has got his screen here up. So if you're watching on our YouTube channel, which is the place to do it anyway, again, youtube.com/fantasypros. If you haven't already, subscribe, because we got amazing NFL draft coverage coming your way. And D-Bro's at the Senior Bowl, working out, running 40s with Thor. Has some great content on there. I listened to the show they actually did on the Senior Bowl. If you haven't, check that out as well. So D-Bro, who is the first pick here as you kick things off with 10 seconds on the board?
I'm just draining the clock, just letting the momentum and the anticipation build, when I was just going to take Justin Jefferson. Honestly, a guy who this upcoming season could be in contention for the 101 overall. Easy pick.
If only there was somebody all year who told everybody to take Justin Jefferson first.
There
was some handsome, bald Italian fellow from New York who could tell you that. All right, so that's an easy one. Justin Jefferson, the one. Who is next in the second round? I know Erickson's got nothing to say about Jefferson, so I won't even go to him yet.
I'm gonna go back-to-back wide receivers. This is just basically a wasteland. I mean, we know about Alvin Kamara's year, Leonard Fournette, Javonte going down, Mike Evans falling off a cliff. Tyreek Hill just stands out above the crowd here.
Oh, and there's the applause, everybody. The applause. I love the little things. I need those. It's good to have that, that reinforcement, the positivity. It's always nice. I like that our dev team always builds that in there. So you've got some good starts here. Tyreek Hill was the guy that I took in the second round when I was doing mine earlier. So let's get your third pick here, and then we'll ask Erickson, see what he thinks about these first few.
Well, I could go one of two different ways. I kind of like the way that wide receiver value stacks up late, so I'm going to take the guy that nobody wanted, but now everybody's going to want now, looking back. I'm going to go Josh Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs, another pick of mine there. I think you are onto something. I think you might be cracking the code here. Erickson, what do you think about this? He did not go for Kelsey early on. That would have been a huge advantage in this. Jefferson, Hill, Jacobs, not a bad start. What do you think about this crew?
Yeah, I mean, he's basically checking off all the league winners in terms of guys that move the needle the most in best ball. I still got a lot of best ball in my mind after writing the primers this past week. So, yeah, I mean, Tyreek Hill, Josh Jacobs, those were the guys you needed because they were going at great values and they returned top 5 positional value at the position. So, great start for D-Bro.
Excellent. All right, D-Bro, you're up again for another pick. Who you got next? You've got your 2 big wide receivers, your 2 alpha top 5 guys. You got your top 5 RB. Now, where do you go?
I am upset. I am shaken to my core. I wanted Jalen Hurts in round 4, round 5. He goes 3 picks before me, so not too happy about that. But I am going to get one of the last elite tier quarterbacks here in Joe Burrow.
Okay, so Joe Burrow. I'm surprised you didn't wait for Fields or something like that.
Oh,
so they're going to be the D.
It's coming.
Oh, is it now? All right, so he's showing the hand here. Erickson, I hope you're taking notes here so you can beat Derek Brown. Derek decided he drew the straws here, and he drew the short one, so he went first. All right, so D-Bro, where are you going next for this pick?
Going down the board, I'm kind of surveying all these different kind of wide receivers, running backs. I think this is a really interesting spot, and I'm going to go down the board after bypassing all these different landmines. I'm going to go for a guy that finished top 15 in running backs, was fantastic. Give me Tony Pollard here for my RB2.
All right, Tony Pollard, another guy who made my team. Do you think that D-Bro took a quarterback too early here, Erickson? Should he have waited a little longer?
I think so. I think that you could have looked at some of these quarterbacks that scored a lot of. You mentioned Justin Fields. I know that
Danny Dimes,
you can get super late. Yeah, Daniel Jones is someone else that's going to be super late. So, I mean, if I had not gotten Hurts, Mahomes, or Josh Allen, I probably would have punted off the position a little bit longer.
All right. Again, it's taking the right player at the right time. We'll see how it goes. All right, D-Bro, who's next here? You got 30 seconds left on the clock.
I'm going to go with one of the only 4 tight ends, 3 or 4 tight ends that finished in double digits as far as half PPR points per game. Give me TJ Hawkinson, considering the way that he finished the season. Yeah, going to go there for
a stirring round of applause for Hawkinson, too. I love that. So that's exciting. So Hawkinson, you took care of tight end, because if you don't, it's a cliff. We all know that. So good value there on tight end. I think you made up for the quarterback here. Of course, I love Joe Burrow. I don't like to speak ill of other Joes. But we'll see how this one shakes out. Looking pretty good so far. I got to say, you got the wide receiver spot open. You got the flex in the defense and a few bench. All right, so where are you going next? What's on the docket here? You've got a couple running backs that didn't work out. I see on the board, and I see a fella that you hyped up quite a bit, and I can see right now it's going to be that guy, isn't it?
It's got to be Mondre. Me and Erickson talked about it all off season. I got to. I mean, where you're getting an RB1, a top 15 running back at this point in the draft, yeah, easy pick.
Yeah, I can tell you Cortland Sutton's not going to be any on the perfect draft teams. I'm just going to put that out there, guys. So I want to bring you back down to earth. Okay, who's going next here? You've got one wide receiver spot open. Are you going there, or are you just going to go for points and try to fill the roster?
Going for points, baby. We're going to stay on the running back position because the value is too good. Give me Kenneth Walker.
There you go. So Walker turned out to be one of those guys.
It's beautiful.
Erickson, Walker going into next year, certainly a guy I think is going to be very high on a lot of draft boards. What are your expectations for him in terms of next year's draft value?
I mean, I think that he's kind of in that tier of running back where you could easily see him finish as the number one running back overall. Like he checked off a lot of boxes in terms of what I was looking for. I know his receiving usage wasn't super consistent, but he had a bunch of games where he saw 5 or 4+ targets. And like, that's good enough for me. The fact that he did it at all, we know he's an elite rusher, and the Seahawks offense, if they bring back Geno Smith, should be good again. So I expect a lot from Walker, and at least some of these early best ball drafts, like he's not going where I thought he was going to go in terms of how high and expensive he is. So he might be a value.
All right. Ramondre was on my roster, Tyreek and Jefferson and Pollard as well. So was Jacob. So we're looking pretty similar. And the next guy, I'm pretty sure you're going to draft a jet wide receiver, and I'm pretty sure it's not Elijah Moore.
Nope, it's going to be Garrett Wilson. Finished double-digit fantasy points. Unfortunately for all the Elijah Moore stands and truthers, that's the season you hoped he was going to have, but I will happily take Mr. Garrett Wilson here.
Okay, Garrett Wilson, another one of my guys that I have on my roster. So far, we're looking pretty similar here, Debro. I think that maybe the 16 simulations you ran to try to catch up to me might be finally paying off, but this is where the real work begins. Okay, so you got to find some value here as you go to the bench. I know you're going to wait on defense. We'll see how long you want to wait on that. So where do you want to go next? I see a guy who scored a lot of touchdowns on the board. Is that the guy?
2023 James Conner, baby. Yeah, Jamal Williams, Mr. Swag himself, come down to the team, get on the roster. Let's go.
There you go. So all the touchdowns for Jamal Williams. If we only knew how many touchdowns he would score, things would be a little different for a lot of fantasy teams, especially for the ones that I had DeAndre Swift. I can tell you, I have too many shares there, or at least too high. But then again, he did show up when it counted for me once or twice. All right, so I see another big-time quarterback on the board. Justin Fields is still around. Is that where we're going next?
That is where I'm going. For this team, I want to lock in top 5 production every single week with the way that Fields ended the season, but the way that he handled the middle of the season. Going to sit here and get Joe Burrow for the end of my season, my playoff stretch run, and Justin Fields is going to be the midseason hammer, baby.
Erickson, as you're watching this board unfold, do you believe that this is when you start looking at quarterbacks if you miss on the elite?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the fact that you know which of the quarterbacks were the late round guys that you actually hit on, I think this is the appropriate spot to draft them.
Anything you think Debro's gotten horrendously wrong so far?
I mean, he did draft 2 quarterbacks, like pretty early, I would say, relative to the other positions. And I guess he's just filling out his bench. So maybe I would have waited, a little bit longer on quarterback, especially because I invested one in Joe Burrow to take another one here. Maybe I would have waited a little bit longer.
I like to look at some of these names on the board. It reminds me of July and August when things look so different. It's pretty funny to look at some of these names now. All right, Debro, you're kind of in the RB4-ish territory, it feels like. So do you see anybody you want to pluck off there and put on your team?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Deontay Foreman here. I think you could make a few different avenues for guys right here. I was hoping Jerick McKinnon was going to come back to me. Okay, that stings. It happens. So really was hoping Jerick McKinnon was going to make it back. And I know this team, I mean, you're looking at the way that I've kind of layered this team, a lot of running backs on, because we want touchdowns in half PPR. Mm-hmm. So not hating that. Hawkinson already on the squad, but I'm going to go for points here. I'm going to take David Njoku here late.
I thought you were going to go with Tyler Algier before. To me, that was the pick on the board, and you took Foreman instead. I know he had a couple monstrous games, but if we're looking at where the guys finished, I think that might have been the one. If maybe you get that pick back, that might have been the change, perhaps. So, Erickson, I hope you're taking notes and learning from all of this stuff here. So you have an advantage. All right, so you got the defense left and then one more bench player. So, Debro, let's close things out here with your picks.
I'm going to hop over to defense to get the positional advantage, knowing that there were only 2 teams that scored double-digit defensive fantasy points per game. One of those being the Cowboys, the other one being the Patriots, and I'm going to take the top defense on the board.
And the applause sound from the bots. They love that. So there you go. The New England Patriots are the defense. Last pick here for you, Debro. Let's see what the score is. What do you have for us? I see a wide receiver hanging out there that had a pretty good season. Is that the way you're going?
Yes, I am. And Zay Jones has been one of my favorite guys for this last and final pick.
All right. Zay Jones, also a guy. Oh, look at this.
Look at
very
that,
high.
Baby.
2632.48 is the grade. Well over the 2,500 mark. Well done. This is excellent. So 2632. Only if she's 5'3". No, 2632.48. That is the score for Derek Brown here on the board. That is the score to beat. So Andrew Erickson, how do you feel about this draft here? Joe Burrow, Josh Jacobs, Tony Pollard, Jefferson, Hill. We've got Garrett Wilson, Hawkinson, Stevenson, Patriots, Walker, Jamal Williams, Fields, Foreman, Njoku, Zay Jones. That's a pretty good situation there. What do you think you're going to do differently when you get into this perfect draft?
Well, considering I know where I'm picking, so I'm picking at the back end of the first round. So someone that I am looking at is Travis Kelce instead of a guy like TJ Hawkinson as my main tight end. You know, the concerns about Kelce are, okay, is he going to fall off? You know, he's getting a little bit older, but I already know he does amazing this year. So I don't have to worry about him falling off because of injury, because he was the biggest value discrepancy at any position last year was Travis Kelce. So if I start off my draft with him, I think that's going to put me on a nice trajectory to come out on top here.
Yeah, the show in the perfect draft is always like having the sports almanac in the Back to the Future too. I always feel like this is what this episode is. So we're all Biff here. We know what's going to happen. It's just a matter of how much can we squeeze out of it. All right, now it is officially Andrew Erickson's turn at the perfect draft to see if he can best the score of Derek Brown. That score, ladies and gentlemen, is 2,632.48. Andrew Erickson's going to begin his draft and see if he can outdo Derek Brown. There's no prizes out here. It's just pride, Erickson. So go ahead, start the draft, bring it up here. And D-Bro, do you think he can do it? That's the question. Do you think he can make this work?
I mean, there's a lot on the line here, Joe. We got pride, we got smack talking and slack. Erickson's never going to hear the end of it. So, I'm personally very, very interested to see if he can. What are we going here?
Well, he's from the 11 spot, so he has just started with Travis Kelce. So you are staying on brand here. You're up for your second pick. So Erickson, after you took Kelce, who's up next?
Going with Davante Adams. I know that, Joe, you were really big on Davante, and I think that we're starting to see when these elite receivers move, it doesn't really matter anymore. Like where they end up, they just have career years and they get it done. So Davante Adams, I don't really, he got it done with Derek Carr, who's no longer going to be the Raiders quarterback. So going with Davante.
You remember when everybody hated DeAndre Hopkins when he moved too? Remember that? That was awesome. I love that. Took all the Hopkins they could that year too.
So weird. Elite players stay elite. Crazy, I know.
Yeah, I mean, come on. All right, let's go. It's just sometimes it's just simple. Sometimes we overthink, guys. So Adams and Kelce. So you got the 1-1 tight end. Obviously,
I know where he's going.
A huge advantage there. We'll see if that works out at the end. Davante Adams is next. So Erickson, where are you going to go? Are you going to go with another elite wide receiver? Are you going to try to tap a running back? What do you have?
I think I'm going to try to go with an elite wide receiver, another elite wide receiver. Where is he?
You can toggle where you're looking. You can see up at the top where wide receiver is.
Yeah, my guy.
Oh.
St. Brown. Our guy. We all liked Amon-Ra St. Brown.
We defended the honor of Amon-Ra St. Brown on this show the entire month of August when people wanted to dismiss him. Oh, it's only because all the other guys were hurt. He got all this stuff. No, it wasn't. He's great. And he's going to be great this year. And I guarantee you he's going to be undervalued again because people are going to say, oh, Jameson Williams, it's going to be all him. And I'm going to be those guys loving Jameson Williams.
Oh, same.
Not to spite Mr. Amon-Ra St. Brown. I'm so glad, Derek Brown, I'm so proud of us that we defended his honor on the show, aren't you?
Very much so. I mean, especially when Amon-Ra's out there making a list of all the people that have doubted him. I didn't want us to get onto that list. Now looking back, I'm glad we didn't. So it's good things to see.
Yes, we made some other lists though. All right, so next is Josh Jacobs at the running back position. That's a pretty good snag right there. I've been taking him in the third round, but you waited to the fourth. That's probably the cagey thing to do. So Erickson, I feel like Erickson's been practicing this. I
was just about to say, I feel like we're getting suckered. I'm getting suckered here because he feels like I feel like you were almost fixing to say that.
All right, let's go next. So you start off with Travis Kelce, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Davante Adams, Josh Jacobs, all the Raiders you can handle. Who would have thought, right? The perfect draft could possibly have 2 Raiders in it. Bet y'all didn't think that back in August. All right, let's go through the next pick. Andrew, what are you looking for?
Yeah, well, there was a bit of a quarterback run, so I kind of missed out on some of the elite guys. So I'm probably just going to end up hunting off that position there. And I'm going to go with someone that had a ton of touchdown production this year after scoring 0 touchdowns the year prior. I'm going to go with Miles Sanders.
Okay. Oh, like interesting here. I don't like it. I'm going to just flat out say it. If Ramondre was there and you took Miles Sanders, that's why. Because I'm looking at the board. I think that's very surprising. Tony Pollard's out there too. So you
because he's going to get him this time?
I don't know.
Bingo, bango. Ramondre, he's on the team.
He has been practicing.
But what about Pollard? What about Bob? What about all these things that we didn't get?
Well, Pollard almost came back to me, actually. He only went 2 picks ahead.
I think this is the turning point. Had you taken Pollard and Ramondre, I think you'd be correct. All right, so now you've got the 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers. You got your flex and Ramondre Stevenson. You got Kelsey. You got a quarterback spot open. You got a wide receiver spot. What are you doing, Andrew? What are you doing?
Come on.
Perfect draft on the line.
Come on, bots. Snipe him.
Look at Eric Brown shading you, rooting for the bots.
Need a receiver here.
Go bots. You can sort it, right? It's up at the there you go, big guy. There you go.
There he is. Garrett Wilson.
Getting tech help from Joe Pisapia. I never thought I'd see the day.
Double tap the rookies. Chris Olave, come on down.
Oh, okay. The 2 rookie wide receivers, Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave, go off the board. That's right. I'm here for tech tips.
I hope you get sniped on Justin
there
Fields.
On the TikTok, on the Twitch. I'm gonna do all that stuff. I'm young. I'm hip. I don't know what the kids like. No cap. All right, let's continue on here. It's actually getting harder and harder to understand my children as they go through school because some of these phrases now. Are you seeing this? Because D-Bro, you've got kids kind of around that same age. They're saying some weird things now. Where it's like I have no idea what you're talking about.
I know what mid means, so we should be good.
Wow. When all the inside jokes
are nothing, know what mid means.
When all the inside jokes are all YouTube streamers, like I'm like, oh god, now I gotta go. I need to go watch all these people so I can kind of get the jokes and
I just googled the definition of mid and it actually just popped up with a picture of Cortland Sutton. It was pretty awesome there. All right, let's go next. All right, so Andrew, you took Justin Fields as well with this pick here, so that's
good draft.
That bodes well. The late QB. JJ Zacharyson strategy working out for you in the perfect draft here this year. I'm wondering.
Been practicing.
D-Bro, do you think that next year everyone's going to look at Fields like they looked at Jalen Hurts this year?
They should. I mean, we already talked about it early in the offseason. Justin Fields has the upside to break fantasy next year, but we saw with Jalen Hurts, people still wanted to be tied into their takes and wanted to fade him. I was crazy in the offseason for saying that he was an MVP candidate, but apparently that's just consensus now, Joe.
All right, Andrew just took Tyler Algier. Love that. I think I advised D-Bro to do that, but he didn't listen to me. So
you did. We'll see if, I didn't listen.
Yeah, we'll see if Andrew's a better listener. He does have overlap though. Garrett Wilson was on your team as well. So and continuing, he's so intense right now. Going another wide receiver.
Come on, clock.
What do you have for us?
Christian Watson.
That clock is moving too slow. I need it to go faster.
No. The clock is giving me plenty of time for me to find out all the draft targets.
30. I swear, I feel like I'm just looking in the mirror right now and I'm hating what I see because Andrew's taking a lot of the same players and doing it very well.
You just call me Andrew? That's weird. You should call me Erickson.
I know. Very weird. I know. It was very weird. I wanted to make it weird.
Is the bizarro realm.
Andy. Well, yeah, Andy. Let's call you Andy.
No.
Oh. Is that on the bottom of your shoes? Like in Toy Story? Like when you went to school?
Toy Story reference.
With the D backwards.
Oh,
Lord.
Is it backwards? No, it's not.
One of the letters is definitely backwards. It's either the N or the D.
Oh, no.
The Y can't be backwards.
Y can't be backwards.
No, it's not.
God, all right. This podcast has gone off the rails. All right. Let's get back to the perfect draft here. What do we have next?
Get my second quarterback because
Tua Tagovailoa is your second quarterback. So just to recap what he's doing here, if you're watching on the YouTube, it's a lot better than probably listening to it. So here you go. Justin Fields, Josh Jacobs, Miles Sanders. I still think that's off. Devontae Adams, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Travis Kelce, Ramondre Stevenson. It is kind of stunning. These are, outside of Josh Jacobs that nobody was on, a lot of our guys. Christian Watson, there wasn't a bigger Christian Watson supporter in the entire fantasy football community than Derek Brown. Zay Jones now on there. Chris Olave was a guy I know Erickson and myself liked a lot. Tyler Algier, another guy too. You guys both were on, I feel like.
No, actually, I can't even take credit for that. I gave Erickson so much crap about Algier. What did I call him, Erickson?
On Algier.
The 5th round guy?
Yeah, because the Falcons didn't have a 4th round pick. He would have been a 4th rounder if they had a 4th round pick, but they didn't. So that's why he went
so into him in the preseason. I gave it so much shade. He stayed quiet until Algier started breaking out down the stretch, and Erickson's like, you see?
Imagine like Zay Jones where he's gone now this year. And it's going to be fascinating next year looking ahead to that. There's going to be so much hype around the Jaguars. I hope it stays normal.
It's gonna be out of control.
Because once it gets out of control,
any Trevor Lawrence.
I see a lot of July drafts having Jaguars for me, and then August drafts not so much.
Come on,
you only got a couple seconds. Curtis Samuel. Oh, look at that. I think you know something we don't here. I don't know. All right, defense, where are you going to go at the end here? Are you going to take the Cowboys, the 49ers? What's left here on the board?
I hear the Texans were a really good defense last year.
The Texans were great. Why don't you take them?
I'm taking Dallas, where the Fantasy Pros company's going to be heading
outward. And he falls short, folks. Miles Sanders' prediction comes true. The score for Andrew Erickson, still above 2,500, so you're allowed to keep your job here at Fantasy Pros, but 2,500, 03.34. That is 1,000. Excuse me, 100 less. Not 1,000 less. 100 less than Derek Brown. 1,000 sounds better. 100 less points. I want to say it's the Miles Sanders that killed you. Had you taken Tony Pollard, I think you would have been better off here. But still, you're allowed to tweet this. This is still a good situation. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see too. This is how you do it. You go ahead, you just share your score, and we are giving away a Hall of Fame subscription there for not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 years. One person's going to win a 5-year premium Hall of Fame subscription when you share a score of 2,500 or more on Twitter or Instagram. And also 9 runners up are going to get a 1-year Hall of Fame subscription to Fantasy Pros. So go get your perfect draft on fantasypros.com/perfect draft. It's a fun way to look back at the year that was. And if you had all the knowledge and you knew everything that was going to happen, well, you could see what the team would have been. This would have been a pretty good team regardless here. Erickson, your thoughts on where you think you fell short here?
Well, I know you brought up the Miles Sanders, selection over Tony Pollard, Stevenson, which I get, but I think that they were all like late round running backs that, Miles Sanders was cheaper than I think both Stevenson and Pollard at the end of the day. And depending on the format, especially like in a standard league, Sanders still scored more. I think Sanders scored more touchdowns than Tony Pollard did. Pollard was more involved in the passing game.
What I think, speaking of touchdowns, I know it's going to sound wacky, but I think the weird edge, D-Bro, ended up falling in your lap with Jamal Williams. You want to talk about touchdowns. I think that's what it was.
You stole the words out of my mouth. That's one of the
now you don't have to talk. All right, let's go back to you, Erickson. So just tease it. Go ahead, D-Bro. Go ahead.
I turned the Y backwards, and now I don't know what to do.
You can turn a lowercase y backwards, people. Come on.
And this show can turn a frown upside down. Let me tell you. This has been a great time here. I encourage everybody, go out there. Look, we're giving you free stuff. We love our audience here. I want to know who you think is the perfect draft too. Go in there and make comments over on the YouTube channel. Again, if you don't follow us on there, subscribe to youtube.com/fantasypros. Go check us out there and go comment on the video. Let me know who are the guys that you think who had a better draft year. Do you like Erickson's team more, even though the robots are telling you it's not? Go look at the rosters. You tell us. Go run your own at fantasypros.com/perfect draft and go get some free stuff. It was a fun time looking back at what was. I think we're going to do a lot more looking ahead at what's going to be, and we've got great stuff in the weeks ahead. We've got the NFL draft coverage. D-Bro was just at Senior Bowl doing great stuff with Thor. We've got that on our YouTube channel. We got so many amazing things. Plus, we've got baseball heating up too. So make sure, if you haven't already, check out our MLB channel on YouTube, our Betting Pros channel too. We've got amazing stuff with NFL draft coverage coming up there too. So we are full service here at the Fantasy Pros brand. And we thank you for hanging out with us today. That'll do it for us. But the story of the game goes on. For D-Bro and Erickson, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.